You know, it's gotten to the place now where it's kind of second nature. You know, I was obviously born into this and raised in it, you know, every year from 1969 until now, we've commemorated my father's birthday. And I don't know any other life. I don't know how to wake up and not be the daughter of these great people, because what they lived and what they taught is so essential, and I've made a conscious decision to embrace it and be intentional about that, not because they're my parents, but because after 62 years, almost 63 years, I recognize that what they taught us is a more excellent way to live and to be in community with people who are part of my human family.
Good morning, everybody. This year marks what would have been my father's 97th birthday and the 41st observance of the federal holiday in his honor. The 2026 King holiday observance is more critical than ever because we are living in a time when violence, displacement, and dehumanization are being normalized. People across this nation feel the weight of division, the erosion of trust, and the fear that our shared future is slipping away. In that context, our 2026 theme, Mission Possible 2, Building Community, Uniting a Nation the Nonviolent Way, is not just timely, it is essential.
My mother used to tell us growing up, you don't have to be me, you don't have to be your father, but whatever you do in this life, be your best self. So my job is to be the best Bernice, not to be Martin Luther King Jr., you know, or Martha Luther King Jr., you know, the next one. I'm not trying to be the next Martin Luther King. Because I went through some years of a lot of anger and a lot of bitterness, and I would lash out. This tongue here was a weapon. But the thing that was beautiful is that I was always surrounded by people who reflected my mother's value system. So even though I didn't always follow the path, I got back on the path because I had enough of that energy around me. Well, I was called at 17. I didn't quite comprehend it. I kept hearing that voice that you're gonna preach like your father. And as I got older, I knew I had to answer it because anytime I tried to go any other pathway, it would keep getting louder. I ended up doing my first sermon on the eve of my 25th birthday in 1988. It was packed. And I said, oh Lord, this is serious, you know? Nothing to play with. And I remember my mom coming to me afterwards and said, do you recall seeing your father preach? I said, oh. She said, it's so strange because you have his gestures. It was a moment of peace. I tell people that really was my moment, my true moment of conversion. Growing up, as a child, going through some of the, as a teenager, going through some of the training early on and later on, you know, doing more studying and then becoming the leader of the institution, you know, I had to begin to align my life. And I wanted to do it. And I wanted to do it first and foremost because my mother spent an enormous amount of time ensuring that people understood the importance of the legacy of nonviolence that my father left. They did their work. We now have our work cut out for us. So please take time to really study nonviolence. I think we're at the most critical juncture in our world's history. When my father said in his 64 lecture in Oslo that I believe that the philosophy and strategy of nonviolence must immediately become a subject of study, by no means excluding relations between nations. That immediacy is even now, more than ever. We're gonna self-destruct if we're not careful. And we need nonviolence as a barometer, a guide, and as a means to center ourselves